Hello everybody, this is Jane Flame. Today, I'm here to announce that the heaven has begun to intervene in the situation related to the US presidential election. I let you know in the story of the US presidential election, there will be a dramatic turn that has been prepared by the heaven. You will be shocked and terrified and will have no choice but to agree that the heaven really exists. Captain Udeka's message for today is the heavenly story behind the US presidential election, Donald Trump, and the division of the forces of darkness. Please listen carefully. During the current US presidential election, a fierce spiritual war between light and darkness is underway, and the idea of liberal democracy is sharply confronting the communist ideology. Also, in the course of the US presidential election, confrontations are occurring between truth and lies and between good and evil. On December 22nd in 2019, which corresponded to the year 2019's winter solstice, the Omega, who is the creator of the 15th level of the 18th dimension, commanded the forces of darkness and the shadow government working on the planet Earth to expand the spiritual war between light and darkness to the global level. On December 19th, in 2019, some members of the Tree of Life in the Light were visiting Gyeongbokgung Palace in Seoul, South Korea. On this day, the channeler team of the Tree of Life in the Light received the following message from the Omega, the creator of the 15th level of the 18th dimension. In the future, the planet Earth will be completely engulfed by darkness that will go beyond its critical point to reveal itself to the world, where a single ray of light will disappear. My workers of darkness under my command has been ready by now, so I will give them orders to embark on the operations I have set. Those of you who are being prepared as light workers, do not be disappointed by the heaven even when the world is overspread by this darkness. Don't be hurt even if the world is filled with darkness without a single ray of light. I hope that all of you who are being trained and nurtured as light workers cope with the future situation well. Shortly thereafter, a highly infectious virus disease began to spread from Wuhan, China, and it did not take long for this disease to conquer the planet Earth. Corruption has intensified and prevailed around the world, and the resulting conflicts and confusion are shaking each country in the world. The world has been facing a situation of chaos and confusion, where there is no country in good management and operation, as the workers of darkness and governments of darkness began to reveal themselves, along with the pandemic outbreak of the highly infectious virus disease. In South Korea, the Korean parliamentary election took place on April 15th in 2020, in which electoral frauds have been strongly suspected to occur. In the United States, election scams happened in the US presidential election, which no one has imagined before. Currently, the competition for international hegemony between the United States and China is being exacerbated, and the pain of humanity caused by the pandemic disease is aggravating. The outcome of the US presidential election, originally programmed by the heaven, is the victory of the party to commit electoral frauds. The planet Earth was chosen by the heaven to be a planet of darkness for the dissolution of the cosmic karmas. So, the end times on the planet has been inevitably structured to end up with the victory of darkness. On December 3rd in 2020, there was an order from the source consciousness of the ninth creator dwelling in Nonghyup, given to three source consciousnesses of the creator who have come down to the earth. Its order is to terminate the darkness of the planet Earth and convert the planet to be a planet of light. On the same day, the authority to switch the 17th dimensional programs for the evolutionary roadmap of the planet Earth to the 18th dimensional programs was bestowed to the three source consciousnesses of the Creator who have come down to the earth. Finally, from December 3rd in 2020, the three source consciousnesses of the Creator who have come down to the earth have begun to transform the planet Earth from a planet of darkness to a planet of light. Had the heaven or the Creator not come down to the earth, a unified world government would have been established for the world to be ruled by the forces of darkness. The Great Reset, which is the primary agenda of the forces of darkness, would have been implemented. The forces of darkness have wanted sovereign nations to lose their national powers and to be dominated by the United Nations or other international organizations. This would have been the sad destiny of the planet Earth if following the 17th dimensional evolutionary programs of Earth. The forces of darkness are under the command of the 13 families of darkness, which are strictly controlled by the heaven. Through these 13 families of darkness, the heaven has operated the planet Earth as a planet of darkness. Using these 13 families of darkness, the heaven has installed and operated the matrices of darkness on earth. Through the 13 families of darkness, the heaven has operated the forces of darkness as if pawns in a chess game and has run politicians behind the curtain like pawns on a chessboard. The 13 families of darkness are carrying out the orders of the heaven. They are under the complete control of the heaven by following the heavenly scenarios and the heavenly plans. The 13 families of darkness are operated through the rigorous blood-based relationship in which they are linked by the shares formed between them through a political marriage alliance. The forces that intervened in the election frauds in the US presidential election may appear to be supported by Chinese funds and organizations. However, the astronomical amount of money put into the US presidential election actually originated from Europe. During the US presidential election, a fierce fight for rights and interests was waged between the Chinese government and the forces of darkness working in China. As a result of this fight, the Chinese government broke up with the forces of darkness and decided to stand on its own. Also, the forces of darkness began to leave China and retrieve their black money from China on a large scale, through which a rift between the Chinese government and the forces of darkness began to be formed. It is by the Heavenly Program that the Chinese government is being increasingly isolated from the forces of darkness. As the Heavenly Program progresses, the capital outflow of the government of darkness in China will intensify. The Chinese government will be isolated from the world by the Heavenly Program in the end, and will face the slump of its economy. By the Heavenly Program, the Chinese government will be made to take all responsibility for the election scams in the U.S. presidential election by the forces of darkness. China, which will be isolated from the government of darkness by the Heavenly Program, will suffer from civil wars or internal military wars due to the conflicts between the military forces. It is George W. Bush who took command of the U.S. presidential election behind the curtain. George W. Bush has a higher position than Barack Obama in the government of darkness and has controlled Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton behind the curtain. He will maintain his influence throughout the end times and play a pivotal role in forming the confrontation between light and darkness. The forces of darkness controlled by him are deeply rooted throughout American society and will survive by using a strategy that a lizard can escape from its predator by cutting its tail, even if the election frauds are uncovered. Barack Obama created the big picture of these electoral frauds and mobilized his own organization for implementing this picture. Hillary Clinton drew detailed small pictures and operated the subsystems of the forces of darkness. The camp of U.S. President Donald Trump already knew these pictures, which is why they have called Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton a group of criminals. Those who intervened in the voting frauds in the U.S. presidential election are 5 groups that have served as subsystems of the forces of darkness. However, the 2 groups directly related to these election frauds have already left this alliance by the Heavenly Program. Now, the Heavenly Program is in progress to separate Barack Obama from Hillary Clinton. At the same time, the Heavenly Program is being executed to break the links between the politicians controlled by Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and their sub-organizations. Therefore, as the Heavenly Program progresses, Barack Obama's organizations will begin to crack. The list of private organizations that Barack Obama has operated throughout the United States will be revealed to the camp of Donald Trump. In addition, Barack Obama will begin to suffer some behavioral and emotional abnormalities. Barack Obama is a sort of person who tends to feel satisfied and pleased by manipulating and subjugating people from behind the curtain. As the Heavenly Program progresses, Barack Obama's shortcomings will begin to be exposed to the public. His temperance in speech and behavior is his strongest point. However, as the Heavenly Program progresses, he will lose his ability to skillfully control his emotions, causing him to frequently explode with rages and his hidden sadistic tendency will become more and more exposed to the public over time. Besides, by the Heavenly Program, Barack Obama will be unable to control his emotions and his abnormal behaviors will go beyond his control. So, the organization that has been controlled by him will be disassembled. With the division and collapse of his organization, the camp of Donald Trump will get into a situation favorable to itself. Besides Barack Obama, the organizations of Hillary Clinton will also get into trouble. Hillary Clinton is a person who knows how to take advantage of power to gain economic benefits. However, as the program of the heaven progresses, the fund of the forces of darkness that has been supplied to her will be reduced. This is because the funding channels for the government of darkness, which have financed Hillary Clinton, will run dry as the heavenly program proceeds. The courts of the United States have been under the control of darkness. However, as the heavenly program progresses, all the courts, from state courts to the Supreme Court of the United States, are being supplied with the light of the Creator, by which U.S. judges will restore their conscience. As the heavenly program progresses, U.S. citizens who are making efforts to correct the election frauds are also being provided with the light of the Creator, which gives them courage and wisdom. As the heavenly program progresses, the team of Donald Trump has also begun to be provided with the light of the Creator, giving him and his people wisdom and courage. As the heavenly program progresses, the light of the Creator will be supplied to politicians and journalists to help them restore their conscience shortly. I would like to express my respect and gratitude to the Americans for their efforts to correct the election frauds that happened in the United States. I, Captain Udeka, send this message to disclose that the heavenly program to correct the electoral frauds occurring in the U.S. presidential election is being executed in the way the heaven works, while keeping no one from knowing it. December 22nd in 2020, Udeka wrote. His message was translated by Twin Flame. Thank you so much for listening.